So, now that the dust has settled on the West Midlands Winter Champs and the Super Training Christmas Classic, I think it's time to kind of recap what went on. So, first of all, I had Dane in the West Mids Winter Championships on Saturday morning. That went pretty well. So the difference here between like these comps and then the previous comps I've recapped is very few of the athletes are trying to qualify for something here, and their main objective being, with it being the end of the year and having like quite a while away from the platform, a few of them, was that they often wanted fun. Like they wanted to enjoy the competition. Now powerlifting isn't always like an enjoyable sport in terms of a spectator. It's not necessarily very entertaining. So how else can we do that? And I spoke to them. So like in Dane's position, he wanted to really find out where he is. Like what is his limit right now, having had so much time away from the platform. So the case there was I had Nathan handle for me because I couldn't be there. I was in super training as well on Saturday. So it was a case of like he really wanted to know where he was. He wanted to push all his numbers, which he did, and that is gonna like sacrifice total potentially, but also like the whole like 9 for 9 is the best thing ever. It's gonna sacrifice that as well. So when you're handling an athlete, it really matters in terms of success what they want and what you need from it as a coach. So what they want as an athlete, what you need as a coach. And for this, it was he wanted to have fun. So he wanted to enjoy himself. He didn't necessarily want to take it too seriously, but he wanted to push his numbers. So the attempt selection I gave, there was like reach options in there for him to push his numbers. There were safe ones if he wanted to, maybe on the day he had to like change his mind, wanted to kind of build a total or something. So there was options there for him. And he went 6 for 9, which is expected. However, the squat, it was the second one he missed on depth. And then he was like, look, I feel strong enough to go up, so I'm going to go up, and I just need to sink it. So he did. Thankfully, there was a jury because he got 2 reds from the judges, or are they referees? I think they're judges. And then the jury overturned it. Good lift. Awesome. So we went 2 for 3. 2 for 3 on squats, finishing with 202, which was a 2.5 kilo PB. Was, whatever. And then bench, kind of as you expect, pushed bench a bit too hard. He went for matching his failed last heavy. So his last heavy in training bench, he missed it. Felt that he didn't quite get set up right, and I would say that bench out of all 3 lifts is the one where if you do get the technique off slightly, it does have a bigger effect than say conventional deadlift, where there is the chance of like muscling through a close to max attempt. Whereas if you get bench slightly off in terms of technique, if you're not got the right haven't got the right foot pressure, hand placement, if you haven't set up your arch correctly, like any of those things could like quite reduce kilos quite a bit. But also the other thing to remember is like 2.5 kilo on bench is a much bigger percentage than 2.5 kilo on your deadlift. So that's the thing. But anyway, so he missed that, but then he was also having a bit of trouble with the rack. He was saying that they had not put the bench in properly. It was a bit misaligned. So that was kind of throwing him off when he unracked, and then he clipped the rack on the way down on one side, which like that's going to move the bar but also put him off like mentally thinking about things. So that was unfortunate. So I think we finished with 117, which he said moved absolutely fine, which if we are looking at wins in terms of a performance and coaching perspective, the confidence he's had with loads close to his max has improved massively. And then we move on to deadlift, where again I believe he aimed for a 2.5 PB, missed, just simply on strength. Like it wasn't there, but now he knows. So he knows that that's too much. We know that that's too much, but we also know that the other attempts were quite comfortable. So I believe we jumped 10 from his second to his third, trying to go for 232. I believe we got 222, finishing, I think it was like 7.5 kilo below his max. So like his best total, which isn't bad. And to know that and maybe a bit more is where he's at now, he's happy with that. And because I wasn't there, I can't necessarily speak like a huge amount on it, and I'm probably now going to chat loads about the super training comp because I was there, and I can kind of run, I could do a little play-by-play, but that was Dane's performance. He's happy with it, he knows where he is, he's kind of got clarity in terms of what he wants to do going forward. Yeah, we had a little call, end of year, post-com call, not long ago, so we're both happy with how the day went, even though it may not seem successful to other people. And then we have Connor Casey, who competed on Saturday afternoon in super training. So the reason I couldn't do the morning in Must Mids and super training in the afternoon is because there was an overlap. I either had to leave probably like partway through Dane's bench to get there for the whole of Casey's comp, or I would have missed most of Casey's comp, to be fair, for having stayed for the whole of Dane's. Like, it wouldn't be fair on either of them to like not put full attention into them. So having someone helpful handle for me is great. So yeah, Casey, again, he wanted to have fun. He wanted to push his numbers, find out where he was. He's had like a pretty long time off the platform, so that was what his plan. That's what he was saying to me before we got there. And then we got there, and I was like, "Look, so what do we want?" And then he's then decided to remind me, or not really remind me, but tell me about that his university just created a powerlifting club, which then sparks the idea of going to books. So then I have to look up the books qualifying total, which for 105s men is 630. I was like, okay, it's in the range that we set. You know, the lowest total we were kind of looking at is, what was it? It was like 625, and the highest being like 642 in terms of his range. So it's like, it's in the range. What do you want to get from the day? And he's just like, yeah, like, I'd like to go for it, but you know, hitting PBs is a bit more important. That's what I'm going to find fun. I was like, okay, cool. So we're coming into squats, everything's moving fine, get our second, and it's like, look, yeah, we're just going to go with the planned third. Pretty happy that that's going to move all right. And then unfortunately we miss, which is 7.5 kilo jump from his second. It's like, right. This makes, because I've had like the 630 in the back of my mind throughout. I'm like, that makes 630 a bit more difficult now, missing 7.5 on our squat. But again, we found the limit, you know. We hadn't really had to push many squats during prep. Like, he hadn't necessarily practiced that real grind up through. So to experience for the first time on the platform was probably a bit of a shock. I think he could have got it, but we did lose a little bit of positioning, like sank it too low, therefore came out of the hole a bit wrong. But like, it is what it is, you know. I think his strength's there for it. So we go into bench, and I'm thinking, right, I want to do some damage control here. I don't want to miss an attempt, so I went a bit conservative on the third bench. After watching, I was like, oh damn, no, I could have gone a bit more, could have gained kilos back here. So that was a bit annoying. But again, he was happy out with the attempt. He got a PB. I think we opened with his PB on squat, so second attempt being a PB, he was happy with. If I was being really sensible, I probably should have gone conservative on the squat to like build total, but that's not what he necessarily wanted. Bench, I believe our second attempt was a PB or matches, so that's why the conservative third, to guarantee a PB there. So we've got PB squat, we've got PB bench. Now we're going into deadlifts, and I'm having a conversation with him like, look, with the range I gave you, with the attempts that I've already set, we don't get, we're going to fall short of 630. So if that is something you want to do, which we've only just kind of learn about now, then we're going to need to take quite a risk on our third deadlift and push that up. And to push that up, we're going to have to push our second attempt up. Our second attempt only needs to go up 2.5, because it was initially a 12 kilo jump, 10 kilo jump, and to get 630 we needed to do 15-15. So I had a chat with him, and he was like, yeah, if we move up the second by 2.5, see how it goes, then we can make a call. And the second attempt we did was the same as his last heavy deadlift in prep, and in prep he didn't have any talc and it was very sticky at the lockout. But watching that, I thought, look, we throw talc on that, that's not going to be a problem, because it just got stuck in his legs. And then on comp day, we threw talc on that, and again, it wasn't a problem. We opened with his deadlift PB. Second attempt was a PB, so like at that point, he's happy. He put, I think it was 32 kilos on his total by that point, having missed the third squat, got all our benches, and got our second deadlift. So I was like, look, we've got kind of nothing to lose here. We've achieved all PBs. We've got everything we wanted from the day. To continue having fun, do you want to try and pull 270 to get this qualifying total? And he's like, yeah, sure. Why not? Like, he does want to go to books. It's his last opportunity to go. So, went for it. And watching his second, I was like, that moved fast. I have confidence the 270 is probably going to go. And it was so close. It was very reminiscent of his last heavy deadlift when it kind of just got stuck around his legs. And yeah, he just didn't quite lock it out. It was quite tough to see. So we finished on 615, which, like I say, was like 30 or 32.5 kilo total PB, which is massive. He had fun. He got all PBs. We had a great time. So that was Casey's day, and a successful one at that. What we've planned now is we were on the wait list for a comp in February to just try and like tidy up the total, just get 630, and then that should hopefully qualify us for books that we'll do in April. If we don't get into the comp in February, then we'll just look at something else. Thinking about it now, there is a comp that I haven't spoken to him about. I spoke to someone else about, which I'll get on to soon. So then on Sunday, it was Sunday morning, and I had Marley and Connor Byrne in the same flight. Marley 105, Connor 120, so it was like their first times in a higher weight class. Neither of them filled it out. Marley was like 99 after like having a big breakfast, drinking, flew his weight in like his hoodie and stuff. So, he just kind of wanted to get into the weight class. We definitely could have cut him down into the 93s, but that wasn't the purpose of the day. Connor Byrne, again, has not filled out the 120s. I think he was like 110 at a push, maybe 109. So this was just a case of both of them not cutting into comp. Connor's cut into comps before, Marley hasn't. This was my first comp with Marley. So I didn't want to do anything kind of stupid. Initially with Marley, so I'll do Marley first because he was the lighter athlete. Initially we were looking at trying to qualify for junior nats. He does have 2 more years to attempt that. We needed 680. With how his training went, like his deadlifts just seemed to have like disappeared. I know why, but they weren't there, and they weren't where we wanted them to be in like the last 8, maybe 10 weeks going into comp. So that wasn't ideal. He does have quite a big deadlift. However, his squats shot up, his bench shot up. So like that was great progress there. We were just quite shy of the total we were looking for in terms of qualifying for junior nats. So we just kind of set out again, what do you want to achieve? Oh, I want to have fun. I want to hit PBs. I was like, sound. He's like, I don't want to go 9 for 9. It's boring. I was like, well, all right. I'll see what I can do. But we go into squats. Everything's moving fine. He's absolutely buzzing off his tits. Opener moves well. Second moves well. Third, unreal. He's got in his head that in his first comp he missed his first squat on depth, so he just seems to go out every time now and just bury every single squat. So depth isn't really a concern for me. However, that can cause problems, especially with heavier loads, and if you've not trained to that depth, like it's just not necessarily going to help. But he got all his squats. We added, I think, 12. Yeah, it must have been. We added 12 kilos to his squat. Unreal. I think his second attempt might have been his old PB, if not a little bit more, unless it might have been a PB. We opened over his old PB on bench. We opened with 117, we went to 122, gave us the option of doing 125 or 127. Now he said to me he wanted at least 125, he wanted 2 red plates on the bar. So I was like, yeah, sure. The way his second moved, I was willing to put on 127. Like, I thought that would go, absolutely. He came off like, I want to play it safe, I want 125. Like, cool, I'm never going to argue with an athlete who wants to do less. Like, they're the one who has to go and do it. No matter, regardless of if I think they can do more, they wanted a bit less, cool. Like, I'm more confident that they will get that because that's what they wanted. So he does 125, smokes it. I was like, yeah, damn, definitely 127 was there. Then we go into deadlifts, which was the one we had most uncertainty about in terms of where his performance is. I had set some numbers. I think I put his top end around 185, 180. When I was there, when I was watching it, I was like, you react to what you have on the day. So I was looking at it thinking, yeah, I'll probably not go that high. So we opened with, what did we open with? Yeah, we opened with 255. That was fine. That was a weight that we've been kind of struggling with for a while, to be fair. Like, that has been an RPE 8 for a good chunk of time. Because using that as like a baseline to see where our deadlift was at based on the training. But anyway, yeah. So that moved grand. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. It was quite a risk to even open on that. And I'm looking at the numbers and thinking, like, I was gonna jump to 270 and then like 280, 285, but I don't want to finish that high, so I'm gonna pull the second down a bit. We did. I wanted to give him an option that we could still get close to it. So I was thinking 265, but we ended up going 267. And then he got really excited, so then he could do the thing. I got very embarrassed. But anyway, again, nails that. Unreal. I'm thinking, right, cool. 275, it's a 7.5 kilo jump. He doesn't want to go 9 for 9. That wasn't like much of a desire, but still. I was like, look, if we get that, that's pretty cool. You know, within 10 kilos of his best deadlift. We've already gone 10 up on his bench. We've already gone 12 up on his squat. So getting as close to his previous best deadlift as we can, ideal. And again, yeah, he just nailed it. I was like, cool, we probably could have put another 5 on that based on what I saw. And then this week in training, he doesn't have a program. You know, I give people the option that they can go to the gym, do what they want, but nothing structured. And then he goes and squats 250. So right, so that's how much more. It is kind of useful because it's now we know how much more he had. He goes and squats 250. He tried a 130 bench. Like, he got it, but it wasn't comp standard. Like, he didn't pause it and his hips came up, but like, it doesn't really matter. So I know that 127 was probably the top end, or his bench would have got 130 on the day, we don't know, but 127 at least. And then deadlifts, he attempted 280, missed, attempted it again, got it pretty smooth. So I know that it's more of like a technical inconsistency at the moment with him. I've been making like a fair few technical changes so I can understand that it wouldn't necessarily be a habit for him right now. So yeah, then he ended up getting like a 660 total. We could probably say 657, 655 in terms of comp standard. But that was fun, to be fair. I enjoyed seeing that. But we did end up going 9 for 9 on the comp day, and as a joke he's like, oh, that's so boring, that sucks. But yeah, we added 12 to his total, and yeah, having a call with him, the next plan there is to go to Junior All Englands. So he's qualified for that because that is 6:15, and that's what I was just thinking about right now in terms of Casey. He did 6:15, is a 105, is a junior, so could also go if he doesn't get into the February comp from the waitlist. which he doesn't know about. If he watches this, this is probably the first time he's going to hear about it unless I message him straight away, which I might do. Anyway, he's got a dissertation to do around May, so like maybe not, because the comp's towards the end of May. But that's Marley's next thing. And then we have Connor Byrne in the same flight. Both of the lads training in super training anyway, with like, and I'm also there, so the, I guess, connection / rivalry was quite fun to see in training, and they could kind of bounce off each other. I've been using Velocity with them both as well, mainly to like collect data for now and then try and like program with it later. But again, with their squats being kind of a similar strength, Connor Byrne's got a bit more on his bench than Marley, and then deadlifts. Marley has a bigger deadlift, but Connor was trying to like catch him up, and when Marley's deadlift wasn't doing too great, Connor was kind of catching. So it was very fun to see that. They would always like compare velocity numbers. So when it came to comp day, handling them both, they were kind of competing against each other, which was fun to handle because I just wanted them both to lift as much as they could. And then, yeah, so Connor, we went with, got his opener, got his second attempt squat matched his PB, went to his third squat. I wanted to jump 7. He did tell me, well, I asked him, what do you want from the day? What's a successful day for you? He goes, I want PBs and I want to try a 240 squat. So he comes off from the squat and he goes, let's load 240. It's going to be hard, but I believe I've got this. I'm like, cool. The thing with Connor is I know that he absolutely can grind out a squat. When we first went to Ireland, he competed in the Phenom Open, I think it was a March comp. His last squat took ages. I'm thinking like 5 to 7 seconds just on the way up. Like, he really worked for that. He tried so hard. I think he got 2 reds for downward motion because the bar kind of dipped on one side. It was gutting. His nose blew up. It was crazy. But I know that he's got that in him. He's got that dog in him. So I'm like, cool. I think a comfortable third would be 237. It was secure PB. But he wants to go for 240. He told me he wants to go for 240 before the comp started. So I'm going to let that happen because he wants to enjoy himself. Cool. I believe in you. Go for it. I have no doubts that you're going to work your ass off for this. He's going. He gets so close to the top. Afterwards, like, he misses, unfortunately. Afterwards, he goes, you know when you're grinding through a squat and you can feel it moving and you got that confidence that you're going to get it? I felt like I just hit a brick wall. And I'm not sure I have the right word for this because it's not disappointing. I'm not disappointed in him at all. It's I don't know the word, but watched the video and I was watching it, the bar was moving. He just didn't know. He felt that he had stopped and he's like, I got nothing left in the tank, and yeah, he stopped. But it's crazy that he previously, when the bar doesn't move and you feel it going, you got confidence to go. This was actually moving, but he didn't feel it was, and he ran out of gas. So that was pretty hard to see. At least he matched his PB though, and he was kind of kicking himself afterwards. But I needed to keep him on track that we had 2 more lifts to do. Like, we have bench and we have deadlifts. Those have both gone. I felt they'd gone pretty well in training, but then Connor's there saying, bench hasn't gone well in training. He has never benched 120 so often in prep, like throughout a week. He's never doubled it before. Like, bench was going mad good. So yeah, we're doing that, and he comes off from, he got his opener, he got his second, comes off, and I'm thinking, okay, like, we'll match your PB here on your third, we'll go 137, and he comes off and he's like, now 135. I'm like, okay, again, I'm not going to argue with someone who wants to do a bit less to secure the lift. So we give it to him, he fucking smokes it. I'm like, could have done 140, and that's something that he has wanted for a while. And I would have put that on the bar for him if he came off from a second. I said, let's push 140. Would have done that. But no, he said 135. Most likely because he missed his last squat, he probably wanted to not miss again, which is fair. I'm absolutely fine with it. And so now we are, I think, only like 2.5 below his best total. And we're going into deadlifts. Now this is something that has built momentum. His previous comp, his deadlift wasn't at his best, and I feel that now we're really getting close to like his best deadlift, and we could even beat it. So his best deadlift was 257, I think, and he's done 260 in training. I was like, cool, I think this is the day we get 260. So, you know, deadlifts are going fine. And also, every last warm-up he did in the warm-up room gave me anxiety, not anxiety, maybe nervous. And I was like, oh no, that didn't move how I wanted to. Goes on the platform, it's like the bar was empty. Every opener just nails it. I was like, all right, fine, cool. Nothing to worry about. So yeah, we're going through deadlifts. Openers flew. Second deadlift flew. I think that was also 255. And I'm looking at him like, that was pretty grand. Like, we could play safe and go with 260, or we could go a bit more if you wanted to. And he's like, oh, I mean, I didn't know if he wasn't sure to do more or to do the thing. He was actually thinking, do I even do 260 or do I do less? I'm like, damn. Okay, now you know how it felt, but I don't know how it looked. We went for 260. We felt like that was a compromise. Like, I think it was only 5 or maybe 7.5 from his second. I was like, cool, let's go for it. And then he just gets like right to the top. His knees are locked. His hips have tucked under him. Unfortunately, like, he just needed to like just flatten his back. And again, he felt that same situation from his squat where it's just like a brick wall. He had nothing left in the tank. So put that down, was understandably quite pissed, but it's difficult, and I can empathise with the fact that he's in the same flight as another lifter I coach who's having a fantastic day, and from his perspective he's not having a fantastic day. He still ended with a 2.5 kilo total PB without actually getting any PBs individually, which is, I think, is like fantastic, because every time we've competed he has taken a step forward. No matter how small the step, it's always been a step forward, which I'm really happy about. But yeah, I can absolutely empathise with the fact that you've got Marley, who's having a great day celebrating, Connor, who's having like not the day he wanted, expectations not meeting reality, and that is the thing that causes people to be quite down. And yeah, like, it was good that there was people in the warm-up room to like pick him up out of like being down on himself. I had a chat with him afterwards to make sure he was okay. His partner was there, which was really great for support. So yeah, that's kind of the weekend. Personally, I think it's very successful despite the attempts that were missed, because everybody had fun. Connor maybe had less fun than we wanted to, but like, I gave him every opportunity that he requested, and he still got a total PB. So for me, that's progress. Next steps for him, I've got his call next week, so we don't necessarily know. He did mention not competing next year, and then on comp day he was like, nah, maybe I'll do one. So we'll see what happens there.